Good morning, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are, and welcome to this week's Weekly Energy Boost. My name is Elisheva, and I'm here this morning with David, and we are all geared up to share with you the secrets to manifesting your goals. Last week, we spoke about creating goals and the best practices in order, really not only from our experience, but from the ancient wisdom of Kabbalah. We talked about how to properly and effectively get the highest aspirations out in the most practical and positive way. That's what we do here at the Weekly Energy Boost. Every episode is a 7-day spiritual energy forecast. Last week was really, the universe was really supporting us to create and to have a vision of what we're capable of. This week, we want to focus on making sure that a month into the gym membership, we're not sitting on the couch eating potato chips, so to speak, the colloquial couch. So this week is all about nuts and bolts. It's about, recognizing from the previous year where we fell short and how we still have this opportunity. We spoke about I think the last 4 or 5 episodes, we spoke about how we have this ability to reflect and transform whatever happened in the past year that didn't get us where we wanted to go. And we have one more week left of that possibility, that opening to use last year as the catapult for this year. So what we're going to be talking about today is how to make sure that everything that we desire for ourselves in the coming year manifests.
Yes, you said it, that this week is, there's an opening in the upper worlds where we have the ability to access parts of ourselves in an easier way that we've never had before. The Kabbalah say that there's actually 10 days according to the 10 dimensions of our soul. And we've already, this is the third day, right? So this is the third day of us accessing this deeper part of our souls. And for anyone who wants to make a change, or who wants to draw strength, or who wants assistance, because again, we're not convincing the light of the Creator to be good to us. I think sometimes in literature or in the Bible, it's written that way, as if I need to convince this external force to behave a certain way towards me. When we say that we pray, we have a whole class about prayer in Kabbalah 1. When we say that we pray, or that we request, or that we ask, or that we beg for assistance or energy, essentially what we're doing is we're causing a transformation to occur within us. The way our soul is designed is that every time we pray, we change. That's basically what happens. When you ask for something, you change your spiritual and physical DNA inside of you. Now, there's different levels and degrees of asking. A person can nonchalantly just say, I would like something, versus someone who says, I really want something, and versus something else that the Kabbalists say that imagine a person is on the way to their execution, and they're begging for their life, right? This is like the highest level of asking or wanting. And what that does is it creates some difference inside of you, which then allows the infinite light of the Creator, which is always there, to come in.
That's not an extreme example at all.
Not an extreme example, no. One of the images I give to students in the classes is, imagine you take this bottle of water that's empty. Have I ever shared this before on the podcast? There's a bottle of water that's empty, and there's a cap on it. So it's just an empty bottle, and there's nothing can go in or out. And you take this bottle of water and you shove it underwater. And now imagine you put it in like a pool of water. So now there's water coming from all sides, putting pressure on the bottle. But because the cap is on the bottle, it cannot come in. The water cannot come in, but there's pressure. There's pressure. And all of us, when we feel pressure in our lives, Kabbalah says this is called the surrounding light. It's light that is our potential. It is light that might be represented as a new relationship. It's light that might be represented as prosperity and sustenance, clarity, an answer. You want an answer about a question you have and you don't know what the answer is? Where's the answer? The answer is in your surrounding light. So go back to the bottle. The bottle is us. We have a cap on. We are underwater. The water represents all that we want that we don't have yet. And the water is trying to get in. And there's pressure. And that's why people feel stress and pressure. We have a whole class about stress and pressure. That's what stress is. When you feel stressed, you can't sleep, and you have anxiety, it's because the light is pressing on you, saying, reveal me, reveal me. That is the nature of the light, to fill where there's a gap, where there's a hole. The light doesn't punish. We are the ones who have the cap on. Now, what happens the moment you remove your cap? The water rushes into the bottle and fills the bottle. How do you remove the cap? That's what prayer is. When you pray, when you ask, when you request from the bottom of your heart for assistance, for transformation, for clarity, for certainty, you remove the cap from your bottle, and then the light, so to speak, the water rushes in to you. And this is the best week. This is the best week to request, to pray, because maybe the cap is a little loose. Right?
We've loosened the cap.
The cap is loose.
Loosened the cap. Now we have the opportunity to...
Exactly. The cap is loose. You just gotta take it the rest of the distance.
Well, I love what you said, because for me, when it comes to the concept of getting what we want, there are a lot of us out there that are wishers, right? We wish. I wish for more money, a bigger house, the better relationship. I wish for a lot of things, but I think it was that we had a show about this last year. I can hear his voice. We had Marcus West on the show. He said there are wishers and there are doers, right? And the difference is, and this is something that I have heard my teacher speak about endlessly, is that, a wish is a really nice thought. When you desire something, when you want to make something happen, the question is really, what are you willing to do to make it happen? And that's I guess that would be my homework, my assignment for everybody who's listening, is in thinking about what you want to manifest this year. It's not enough to want it. There's a lot out there about the law of attraction and visualization, and even the Kabbalists talk about seeing yourself having it, what you desire, living in that reality, quote unquote, dressing for the job you want now. But if you're not clear on what you're willing to do for it, it's just a wish. It's just your imagination running wild, and there's no manifestation. And that's really one of the reasons we wanted to put this show back to back with last week, because a lot of us are really good at wishing and knowing, I know what I want, I know what I'd like to have, I know what I'm asking, I know what I'm praying for, but the correlation between my desire and my effort is zilch. So we want to talk about also how to make sure that the manifestation takes place with all of our, if the universe is supporting us this week to still see clearly what do we want, what are we working towards. Almost more important is how much I really wanted it is exactly the same thing as how much am I willing to do for it.
There are two key principles to keep in mind when you want to manifest something. And the way that the opponent, that negative force in this world works, is the opponent makes sure that you only do one, if any, of these key principles, because you have to do both to manifest. In Kabbalah, we learn that you have to have a desire, a craving. You have to know what you want. Many times people, they want something. This is what I love, and we talked about this on many other shows, that people want certain things and they're very clear about what they want. But oftentimes they have the poison pill desire, which is a subconscious desire, an unknown desire, a hidden desire that is the exact opposite of the desire they're telling you. Case in point would be the person who says, I want love, but they also have a hidden desire, which is
to be left alone.
To be left alone. So when you tell the universe, you confuse the universe, you confuse people, and then you attract confusing people. You attract people who are unavailable. You attract people who are also kind of in that confused state. They seem to like you, and then they ghost you, and they leave you, and you're confused because it's all a reflection of the desire that we put out there. So part of the spiritual work, step one, is to come to an understanding about what we want. And if you want to know what you want, don't just ask yourself, because you might be lying to yourself. It has to do with your actions. The actions are the words are manifesting. Oftentimes when people are passive aggressive with their words, the words are actually saying the true thing that they feel inside. That's why it's passive aggressive. They're passive because they're trying to hide it, or unconsciously or consciously, but they're aggressive because deep down inside they're hurt. So deep down inside, their desire is, I want to hurt you, but externally they're saying, I love you. That's passive aggressive, and we all do it. If you're passive aggressive, if you're sarcastic, if you're complaining a lot, and if you're judgmental, it means your desire is not in sync. It means you tell the world you have one desire, but deep down inside, you have another desire. And when you have these two conflicting desires, the light of the Creator is confused. People are confused. Your clients are confused. Your potential love partners are confused. Your children are confused. People don't know how to serve you. People don't know how to give to you. People don't know how to love you. People don't know how to share with you. And then that creates a vicious cycle where you become a victim and become more passive aggressive.
There's a Kabbalistic truth, or I would say it's a cosmic law, that a person will be led according to their desire.
That's correct.
So we get the question a lot of times in the one-on-one work we do with people, where they ask, why do I keep attracting people who are unavailable? David's example is a perfect illustration of that. A person says, I want to be in a relationship, but at the same time, they don't want the accountability. They don't want the intimacy or the vulnerability that comes with a relationship. So they attract people who can't give them that. Mm-hmm. And externally, there's frustration, but internally, there's a lack of congruence between, how I'm acting and what I'm wanting. And that, to me, is kind of the first thing we need, or maybe it's now the second thing we need to talk about. But before we do, I see that we have a lot of new listeners with us this morning, and I want to make sure that we meet them where they're at as well. We do this podcast every week, and it's available on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and everywhere you can find podcasts. Apparently now we're also on Amazon Podcasts. I didn't know that was a thing. So the essence, or the goal of what we do here, is we try to connect our listeners with the idea that even though we live in this very physical world, with this very material world, where there are physical, not only things that we want, but obstacles in our way, the goal of everything is to reveal the unique light within each and every one of us. And we're given two tools to do that with. We're given our vessel, our capacity, our desire, which includes even the physical things around us. Right. And then we have our soul, which, according to Kabbalah, is a piece of the light force of the Creator. If you can imagine that a huge vase that shatters into 7 billion pieces, the Creator is that vase, and we are the shards. So everyone has a unique shard, and we're put on this planet to reveal that light. But what happens? We're born. Our parents push us to go into a profession. They teach us relationship lessons, even unconsciously. And suddenly we're 25, 30 years old, and we think it's about making money and landing a relationship. And we forget the truth of that spark inside us that is, I'm here to reveal the unique light of my soul. Kabbalah is the wisdom that teaches us how to navigate the physical as the stage on which to reveal my spiritual light. And so when David was talking about the light trying to get into the bottle, the light force of the Creator, according to Kabbalah, is not, I think that a lot of us have the perception that God is like a Santa Claus character who sits on a throne and has lightning coming out of one finger and lottery numbers coming out of the other. And according to Kabbalah, God, couldn't be further from the truth, right? Even though in as David was saying, in Scripture, there is sort of this personification of God. It's not because God has 5 fingers on every hand that we need to personify that force. The opposite. We are the light. The light is all around us. It's not even something up in the heavens that we need to cry out to. Our role is really to access the light in the water bottle, in the mountain range, in the traffic in front of me, in every moment of our lives. And so if you're new to the show, I highly recommend you go back through the library, let's say on the podcast, and look for the topics that resonate with you. And if it's interesting to you, David has a great course called Kabbalah1.com, where he shares the fundamental concepts that we dance over every week on the show. So there's my little 3-minute introduction. Going back to thoughts and words and actions, I think we must go there.
Yes. And by getting a lot of comments here where people are like, well, what is the second thing? Because I said there's 2 fundamental principles.
Right.
I don't want to leave it.
I like that people pay so much attention that they're able to hold you accountable during the show.
If I don't share, I'm going to get emails and messages, and they're not going to be pretty.
Oh, by the way, if you're listening on the podcast, we get these live messages because we are live on Facebook right now. So that's how we're getting the comments.
That's right. We like to do it this way. Instead of just recording maybe on a podcast or another way, we like to have a live audience that we can hear what you have to say. The comments are just pouring in. So we're trying to read as one another are talking. So the second thing, right? The first thing we said is to start to understand your desire and to realize that probably there are hidden desires which are confusing the revealed desire, the desire that you show to the world, that you show to people. And again, how do you know you have hidden desires? Judgmental, passive-aggressive, complaining, sarcastic. These are all ways that the internal disease of that hidden desire bubbles up to the surface. So what's the second thing? So the Kabbalah says you have to have a desire, because without a desire, there's nowhere for the light to go. Think about it. The Creator wants to give you, but there's free will. There's no coercion in spirituality. We learned this with Kabbalah. So the Creator can only give where there's a desire. So all right, you have a desire. Let's say you have established your desire, even if it's just 60%. Like the Creator can give, right? Well, here comes the second universal law that we learn in Kabbalah 1, class 7. It's called bread of shame. It's this idea that everything has to be earned. And the way that it is earned is through the effort. There's several ways that we earn things. There's a physical earning and there's a spiritual earning. The physical earning is just the max energy and effort you put into something. Oftentimes we don't put in physical earning. We don't move our body. We don't ask questions. We don't research enough. We don't go out of our way to break a sweat to try to manifest something. So physically, there is a level of work that has to be done. That's physical earning. Spiritual earning has to do with all the... Gosh, no, I feel like there's 100 classes coming to me at once.
I would say that it's whatever is uncomfortable for you.
It's very. I feel it might be too general for our audience.
Well, we could break it down, but I'm saying it's like whatever stretches you or takes you outside of your safety net. That's spiritual earning, because you could say, I could say, listen, I wake up in the morning and I go to sleep at night and I sleep 4 hours and I'm so busy and I don't have time to eat. That's not spiritually earning for me.
Okay, I got it. Here's the problem. When you have a desire, what comes with a desire? Lack. So here's the kind of the catch-22. When you have a desire, you also feel lack. That's why a lot of times people shut down their desires. They medicate, they take the substances because it fills them and they don't have to feel pain. When you have a desire, which is a good thing, with that comes lack. But we learn in Kabbalah that if you do something from lack, if you take something, if you engage in something, if you build something from a place of lack, from a place of I don't have, from a place of neediness, the light can't come in because there's no similarity of form. So earning means I work, but not from a place of lack. I work from a place of feeling whole inside of me. So this is the point I wanted to share, and it's a little deep. So
it's
I need you to.
It's a lot deep.
It's a lot deep.
It's a lot deep. Of dictionary words.
It's a lot deep, and I need you to focus here, guys, because I'm giving you a big secret. Because this is Kabbalah like 1 through 26.
Kabbalah 7.
In just 2 minutes, I'm trying to explain. So stay here with me. You have to have a desire. Stage 1, great. Stage 2 is because you have a desire, all the negative forces come at you and tell you, oh, you have this huge desire for, let's say, a relationship. You don't have a relationship. You're a horrible person. Nobody loves you. Look at the people who did love you now are loving somebody else. All these different things. Then you start to feel lack. And this is tikkun, and all the negativity, all the corrections start to come up. Then you say, okay, I have a desire, but I'm not going to now go out there and try to take from the world to fill my desire. I'm going to allow, and this is the deep part, this is the spiritual part, I want that the light of the Creator will bring it to me by me acting like the light, which means I'm going to act like the light. What are the attributes of the light? I'm going to be giving. I'm going to be a happy person. I'm going to be out there creating value. I'm going to be all the qualities of the light of the creator. I'm going to be compassionate. I'm going to go overcome my grudge with this person. I'm going to overcome my guilty feelings here. Maybe it's a mix of therapy. Maybe it's a little bit of Kabbalah. Maybe it's a little bit of meditation. But I'm committed to overcoming my pain, my lack, my misfortune, my victim consciousness. So essentially what you should do is you say, I have a desire. And then you put it on the shelf. And you say, no lack. I'm now going to do work on myself, and I'm going to add value. So then what happens? Shouldn't I go out there looking for the relationship? Shouldn't I go out there and take the relationship? And this is the big secret, that when you want something, and then you let it go, and you go focus on being the giver, on adding the value, then the light of the creator can bring the right person. And it doesn't mean you don't go out on dates and you don't do other things, but you just don't go feeling, I need something, I'm lacking something, I hope you can give me something. It's that consciousness. You cannot walk around with that consciousness of, I need something from you. Please. Otherwise, the light of the creator can't come in. So I hope that wasn't too deep.
I'm speechless.
Do we have questions about
What
that?
is, no, because everybody else is speechless too. What does adding value look like when you desire a relationship?
All right. So let's say
because I see it at work. I see how you could add value. You want a promotion. How do you add value? You're looking for a better a job at another company. I see how you can add value. But if you don't have the relationship to add value into, how do you add value?
So it's two separate things. The fact that I want a relationship, I put that aside for a moment. Now I have other relationships. I have friendships. I have a relationship with my dad. I have a relationship with my mom. I have a relationship with other people. So I need to practice acting like the light, because that similarity of form then brings the light to me to fulfill my other desires, whatever those desires are.
And that in Kabbalah 1, that's rule number 1. If you want to reveal the light, you have to act like the light.
Exactly. And here's what people don't understand is that I want something, now I should go out there and get it. No. In Kabbalah, we're saying something the opposite. We're saying you should want something, put it aside, okay? And then go act like the light in all the other areas of your life. So what does that mean? It means you're talking to your friend and you're looking at them, and what you're saying to yourself is, how can I add to this person? How can I give? Maybe giving is shutting up. Maybe giving is just listening to what they have to say. Maybe giving is dropping an idea. Maybe giving is asking a question. I don't know, but you're coming from the, I want to give. I want to give, and then maybe you're even praying, help me give. And everywhere you go, that's the mantra. I want to give, help me give. I want to give, help me give. And then all of a sudden your pain comes up and says, oh, but you're alone and you don't have this. And look at all the people who have that. And you should be busy taking. And all of a sudden you say, pause 1 second. No. I want to walk around being the one that is bringing energy everywhere I go. Now, I don't know how to do that, but I want that. I want that so bad that the light then will show me how to add that value.
I used to work at a restaurant like 300 years ago.
Like when you were 13?
Yeah. And it was a takeout place, so it wasn't even like you couldn't create ambiance. Okay. You know what I mean? It was like people just wanted to get in and out. It was before Uber Eats and Postmates. You actually had, we did have a delivery person, but you had to pay for the delivery service. This is way back when the dinosaurs, you had to hop on a dinosaur to get takeout. So it was a little bit of drag. I mean, okay, I had fun, but you know, it wasn't a temple of spirituality, let's call it like that.
Sure.
And I really took the job because I had been studying Kabbalah for a number of years, and I wanted a place where I could be challenged to do exactly what David is talking about. You have a person in front of you who is screaming at you because you put brown rice in their bag and not white rice, or because they're allergic to peanuts and nobody told them there's I'm saying valid reasons to be upset. Sure. How do you be a giver? And I'm bringing this in because it's possible that every single one of your lacks and your insecurities and your past failures are coming up in a situation where someone's standing in front of you that's irate or irrational or unreasonable. And I loved being there because it gave me, in a way, and I'm encouraging you guys to do this as well at work, or find a situation in life where you can practice this. Traffic is a really good one too, by the way, because it's, again, that sort of sterile environment where nobody can hear you or see you, and you can stretch your spiritual muscles. I would look at that person and just smile and think, I love you and you're amazing and we're going to work this out. And
while you hand them the bag of rice.
Exactly. Or the lo mein or whatever it was and the much fried chicken. I don't know. But the idea, and what happened, people would call the place in order to be like, hi, are you the one who smiles? Like I became
Beautiful.
the one, I was the bearer of light in the
Beautiful.
darkness of takeout. I'm sharing that not so that everybody says way to go, because again, it was when the
13.
dinosaurs walked the planet, but more because you can be in what I would call an impossible situation. We made a mistake. It is our fault. It's, we've got to fix it. But at the same time, it's not about me. I'm only thinking in that moment how I can add value. And I want to use that to sort of segue into the idea that, you may have this list of desires that you want, but all around you, you have people and you have behaviors and you have scenarios that are what's the opposite of conducive? Inhibiting the manifestation of those things. If you have friends that tell you you're ugly, you're stupid, or, you should just go back to your ex, it's going to be very hard to draw your soulmate into your reality. And believe me, the friends are there to provide you with the opportunity to be like the light.
Not just that. When you have friends that are telling you to go back to your ex, is because 20% of you has a desire, which is a desire for drama. So when you have a desire for drama or the excitement of drama, 20% of your friends will be people who tell you to do toxic things like go back to your ex. That's just something to think about. There's a really powerful thing that you said, which I think we can share and kind of encapsulate it more in a direct way. I think what came to my mind was this morning I got up and I take care of one of my kids in the morning. He's 2 and he likes to have an apple every morning. So he tells me I want an apple. So I'm cutting up the apple for him, but I'm thinking about our show. So I'm cutting up this apple, but I'm thinking about the show. But I'm mechanically putting the apple on the plate. I put the plate in front of him, but I'm thinking about our show. And now I'm realizing that what is giving? I handed him an apple.
There was an exchange of goods
There was an
between
exchange of
dad
goods.
and son.
There was an exchange of goods. But if we're talking about being the light of the creator at every moment, perhaps what I could have done at that moment is why am I thinking about the show? Because I'm worried that I need content for the show. So that actually I'm preparing for the show from a place of lack. Now, at that moment, probably what I should have said is, I'm not going to prepare the show. I'm going to hand this apple with consciousness.
With this action of sharing.
This unbelievable action of sharing.
You're going to have a download of all the content you need
and
for the show.
And you know what? Our teacher would always, Rav Berg would always teach us that, which has happened to me so many times. I'll be preparing for a class, and then it's like 6 minutes to class, and the wife is FaceTiming me. And I'm like, okay, do I pick this up? Because then I'm not going to be able to prepare these last 6 minutes. And then I just remember the lesson always was, pick up the phone, talk to whoever it is, if it's your wife, give the love and the value, even though you're not going to prepare, because that 6 minutes of talking to someone and giving value, especially when it's hard for you, because you want to be prepared.
That goes back to the spiritual earning.
That's spiritual earning. So then if I go into class even less prepared, but the light of the creator will channel through you to give you wisdom. So you know what? I remember this because I think I'm a little younger than you. I think so. A little bit. A lot younger. So I remember when I used to go to college, I used to study Kabbalah as a student. I wasn't a teacher yet. I was going to UCLA. And I remember what my teacher told me every day when I had a final exam in college, he would say, in the morning, come and do some action of volunteering, like a couple hours before your exam. And I said, well, that's the time that you really want to get in that last bit of cramming to do well on the exams. He said, prepare. For sure you should prepare, but I want you the hours before just to share. I don't want you to study at all. And it'll be amazing because by doing that, which is totally, counterintuitive if you're trying to ace an exam, somehow by the restriction and the letting go and the sharing, you go to the exam and you receive wisdom. And because you already know the information. Right. It's in your brain. It's in your soul.
About accessing. You will have more access to your knowledge.
The infinite knowledge.
Right.
Not just what you crammed the last hour.
I can tell you, I mean, I had a very similar technique when it came to school. And
Because you were studying Kabbalah then.
I was also studying Kabbalah then. I actually had the chance to take a Kabbalah class at UCLA. How's that for?
I did too.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
Yeah, it
I'm
wasn't
like,
this
this
at
is
all.
not Kabbalah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Professor's life was a mess. I'm like, what are you teaching?
no judgment.
No judgment.
Anywho, but what David is saying is important, because when I brought up before friends, but our environment is everything to what we're trying to accomplish. So when you look at that list of goals for the coming year, ask yourself, have I created the environment in which these seeds can grow into fruit I'd like to enjoy, right? And in modern times, and now we're sitting in the middle, hopefully the end, but who knows, of this era of COVID, and it's a lot harder to go out, quote unquote, and share and be and do. People are studying. For those of you that are in school, I'm sure you're learning online now. There's so many unusual circumstances, but our environment is now not only where we physically go to, it is our social media. It's the books and the articles we read. It's the news that I actually talked to a student who said that she has been on a news diet, actually because of something that we were talking about on the show once. And she has replaced getting up in the morning and watching news with listening to Kabbalah nuggets, whether it's the podcast, Kabbalah1.com, different things.
Sure.
Her life in the last month has changed dramatically. And to me, it's not about what she heard. It's not about the wisdom that she learned, but the fact that she decided, I wake up every day listening to the news. That is an environment I can choose to not plant seeds in, because every morning is an opportunity to plant seeds, according to Kabbalah. She's now putting herself in a much more fertile soil, and I'm not exaggerating. She literally has a new job. Nice. and sees herself, really sees directly how the universe has brought her there to reveal the light, the light of the Creator. And so many things have shifted since she decided to choose a different environment. And so I also want to make sure that when everyone looks at their list of goals, that you actually identify, well, if that's a seed that I want to plant and grow into fruit that I'll enjoy this year, because that's really what setting a goal is. It's planting seeds that you'll enjoy at some point in the future. What do I need to do to the environment that seed is in? And sometimes it also means not sharing. I don't mean not sharing. Not sharing about your seeds, right? I think a lot of us we look to our friends for guidance and support, and sometimes we're not always aware that by sharing, we're drawing limitation. We're going to talk about limitations in the coming weeks, but one of the ways that we do that is by sharing things that we want to be successful, sharing about things that we are excited about or proud of. And sometimes that creates unnecessary limitations that we don't want. So take time to examine where you're putting your seeds. And now David's going to make an inappropriate joke.
I didn't say anything.
I felt it.
I was actually going to say we should probably. It's just the way you just lob that.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Go for it.
No. There's nothing of that nature coming. So. So
you want me, I have a whole list of things to share. You want me to keep going?
I was going to say, let's take some questions from our audience. That's what I was going to say, because they're just throwing questions out there, nonstop questions, and I think we should. There was something here somebody wrote. Okay, so if I need, this is a hypothetical, I assume, and let's answer it. So if I need more business for financial sustenance, instead of getting a part-time additional job, it might be to let more light in to volunteer at the animal adoption place. Okay, that's a question. Is that what we're saying? I think the way I would handle that is, if I wanted more sustenance, would I go out and get a part-time job? You know what first thing I would do? I would pray. And now this is the best week to pray. This is the most powerful week to pray. I would pray to the Creator and say, Creator, I know you don't create deficient creatures. So if you created me, you want me to have all the goodness. Maybe in Eileen? Maybe in Eileen's case, she getting a part-time job is just that thing she might have to do, but it's still not what she wants. Still not what's going to make her happy. It's still not the amount of sustenance she's looking for. So it's still settling for less. It's a good step, but What I would say is I would go to the creator and say, Creator, I know you want me to have my maximum soul's potential. You wouldn't create me deficient. Otherwise, no one is created deficient. Creator creates everybody perfect. We just have the free will of what we want to do with that perfection. So I would say to the creator, I'm gonna go share. I'm gonna volunteer, let's say, or whatever. I'm gonna do something uncomfortable out of my nature to add value so I can emulate the light of the creator. And what I'm asking for in return is that you show me and guide me how I should be approaching my sustenance. Because I think sometimes by saying, I'm going to go get this job just to get what I think I want, that might be the right step. But I wouldn't walk in that direction until I let go of all ideas and I ask the creator, you show me. I would have to first go through that process where I'm asking and I'm genuinely wanting to know. Now, if after an hour of asking, a couple of days of asking, then the idea is to go get a part-time job. Okay, that's fine.
I would go back to something you said earlier today that has to do with being needy.
Okay.
And this is an overarching theme I think we can all take to heart for this month. I don't think we need to talk about it every week, but we just entered, we're in the third day of the month of Libra, right? We spoke about last week that over the weekend we had this very powerful opening. And two of the signature qualities of Librans, let us know if, maybe don't admit if I'm right or wrong, is that they are very much dependent on the energy of others. They're what we call people pleasers, which is a great thing as long as whether or not you're able to please the other person, it's great to want to make other people happy. But, here's a way to check yourself. When you go to a birthday party, back in the days when we went to birthday parties, and you went to a birthday party and you brought the person a gift, were you disappointed when they didn't open it in front of you? That's how you know you're attached to the outcome, right? That's how you know you're giving it because you want to make them happy. And if you don't get to see them being happy, you're a bit disappointed. That means that person is the cause and you're the effect. What we want to work on this month, and David was talking about being needy for the relationship, or in this case, being needy for the client or the customer or the deal. At the moment you put the other person or the situation as the cause of your happiness, your joy, your fulfillment, even your sustenance, right? The universe it put us here for us to be the cause. That's something we talk about in Kabbalah 1 as well. We are here to be the cause and not the effect. So the moment that you walk in, I remember hearing you teach this in a class also, the moment you walk into a business meeting, you literally in your mind are saying, I don't want the deal.
Right.
This is not for me. Really being able to push back on your neediness to the point, and this is something that we're all going to have to be aware of this month, because the cosmic forces are, but not because we're supposed to be that way this month, but because this month is the opportunity to overturn that tendency, to transform it so that I can be more of the creator, more of the cause in my life than the effect. So walking into that relationship or that meeting with that client or that customer, someone walks into the store, I guess, depending on what kind of industry you're in, to not be desperate, or if someone walks in, don't be excited, right? You see you made a sale, don't be excited, because in the moment you're excited, you're giving it over to, your power becomes the other person's. And being in that place of, I guess the best question to ask is, am I the cause right now? Who's the cause in this situation? Imagine, by the way, a relationship where both people are trying to be the cause all the time. Both person are trying to be the giver. Both people are trying to share. Isn't that the ideal relationship?
I want to give a shout out to our teachers, the spiritually hungry podcast with Michael and Monica. Because you guys should have. If there's another podcast you should be subscribed to. It's that one for sure. And I remember in one of the classes about relationships, they talk about it a lot of times because they always do Q&A about relationships. And it's so true. It's so true, because this is where relationships fall apart. Relationship is something you have to constantly invest in it. You have to constantly want it to work, because there's that passive aggressive thing. When do relationships start to fall apart? When there is 20% of you that wants it to fall apart. Of course, that's the 20% you hide from your kids, and that's the 20% you hide from the other person, and that's the 20% you even hide from yourself. But there's 20% of you that's trying to escape. There's 20% of you that's trying to be single again. There's 20% of you that wants no responsibility. There's 20% of you that wants to hurt the other person because you were hurt. That 20% rears its ugly head so many times, and that 20% takes control in the relationship. The 80% of you that wants to build, that wants to create, that wants to love and wants to be loved, that 80% needs to commit itself again and again and say, I need to earn the love of this relationship. I need to be the cause, as what Elisheva said. Because when Elisheva said be the cause, it triggered this lesson that I heard in their podcast. So what it comes down to is we have the power and we are in control. It seems like we're not in control. It seems like everything is more powerful than us. It seems like the influences of this world, the results that we're having in our lives, it seems like that's more powerful than me. And sorry, I gave this example. I gave this example on a TikTok last week, actually. Elisheva, I gave an example on TikTok, little TikTok plug.
TikTok plug.
The example I gave was that it takes, when you look at the sun, what you see, it takes, I think it was 499 seconds for the light of the sun to reach the earth. So what you're seeing is 499 seconds old. Are you following me here, guys? It's 8 minutes. It's a little bit more than 8 minutes old. The sun you're looking at is not the sun that is right this moment. That's 8 minutes old. Now, what does that mean? And same with similar stars that you see. You look at a star in our galaxy or other galaxies. What you're looking at could be days, months, years old. Because by the time it takes for that light to travel at whatever it is, 180,000 miles per second, I think. I probably totally got that wrong. But the time it takes for that light to travel, by the time it reaches you, it's already, that star is already something else. That star may even already be gone by the time that light reaches you. What does that mean? What's the practical lesson here? Our consciousness works the same way. You see something painful happening in your life. We learn in Kabbalah, be the cause, which means I choose now with my consciousness to say, everything is good, even though it looks horrible. It takes 8 minutes, maybe 8 days, maybe 8 months for your consciousness to reach the reality, where by you saying it's good, it becomes good. The reason why we all become dejected with this concept is that we say everything's good and then it's still bad 5 seconds later. So then we say, screw this whole spiritual thing. Give me some energy. I'm just going to go back to being the effect and, taking some kind of substance to calm my nerves. You got to stay strong. And you got to be like the physical light, which is you shine. It travels fast, but it still might take time before it reaches this physical reality. That's what it means to be the cause. So you're in a relationship that is not a toxic one. It's not an abusive one. It's a good one. You know the person loves you and you love them. It's a good relationship, but that person right now is in a bad mood, a bad state, a bad place in their life, and they're somewhat being, not fun to be around. And you say, no problem. I'm going to give, and I'm going to make this flower blossom. And you give love, and you give attention. You try 8 different ways of doing it, and they're still, being mean. I'm talking about the good relationship. You got to give it time, because it takes time for the light of the sun to reach the earth. It takes time for your love and your consciousness to reach the other person. And then that person wakes up one day and goes, wow, you know what? This person's always been there for me, even in my horrible moods. I really respect that. Why are you smiling?
Oh, it's so cute. That's so nice.
That's your response?
No, it's by the way, that's the recipe for a long-lasting relationship. I read a book years and years and years ago about marriage. I think it was a John Gottman book. And he said that every relationship has a bank account. And the role of the two partners is to constantly deposit into the bank account so that when one of the partners needs to make a huge withdrawal, like when one of us is in a funk or, struggling with something at work or just having whatever kind of personal crisis where you can't show up the way you want to, if the bank account is full enough, the relationship will survive, right? The person who's not in crisis is continuing to deposit. There's a big cushion there. The relationship has what it takes to weather that situation. But I love that it was all about giving.
Yep.
You know, that if you can show up and be a giver, even though you're not necessarily getting back in the way that you'd like in the long term, you hold out, that it's a period that you can buckle down and be the hero. The chances of that relationship weathering it are very high. What you said about a moment ago really triggered this whole idea about, I'm sorry to bring us back to the goals thing because we have to wrap up the show in a second. A lot of people's goals are really simply requests for relief rather than expansion. And I think we all need to be aware and careful of that as we navigate through this period where we are careful. setting ourselves up for the year to come, is the idea that, many of us are looking for money or increased abundance, not because we have expansive goals and desires and we want to, be a force for good in the world, but because we just need relief from being month to month on a paycheck, or we just need relief from the debt that we have, or we just need all of that, looking for relief, right? Some people want to be in a relationship because they want relief from being alone. That's a very low level of desire. It's like asking for a Dixie cup, like the cup that you get at the dentist with the mouthwash. It's like asking for that kind of cup full versus like the 5-gallon.
This yellow thing.
Yeah, my Hydro Flask, my 50-ounce Hydro Flask or whatever it is. 40, I think it's 40 ounces actually. But you get the idea that we're unconsciously, a lot of our goals are really desires, wishes for relief rather than desires for expansion. Mm-hmm. And that's why when you write down that list of what am I willing to do to achieve that goal, it's very low because I'm just trying to get rid of a pain. I'm not really looking to add more value, add more impact. One of the things that stuck with me back from those years of being a teenager and studying Kabbalah is that in the original text, the word for sharing is actually to influence, lashpia. Right, the Creator wants to bestow. Right, technically we translate it to bestow, but it's the same word that's used to influence. To influence. So I'm always thinking in terms of how can I influence for good. If I want more abundance and I'm not going to use that to influence for good, why would the universe give it to me? If I want a relationship because I want to be able to influence others for good, then I have the support of the universe. So everybody, imagine all of us who are listening over the course of the week, maybe another 20,000 people or so. Imagine if we're able to shift into that space where everything we desire is so we can use it to reveal light and not just so we can feel a little pleasure or, like you say, the little pleasures, relief for a minute, relief for a few months, relief for a year. There is so much more out there for us.
All right. I think we have to tell people about next week's show, that it's on a different day.
Right. Next week's show is going to be on Sunday because Sunday night to Monday night is the most powerful day on the Kabbalistic calendar. It's traditionally called Yom Kippur, but unfortunately it's referred to as the Day of Atonement. Kabbalists call it the Day of At-One-ment. It's the greatest revelation of light in the year, that one day. So rather than having everybody be busy on their phones trying to listen to us, we thought we'll go live on Sunday, give everybody the boost for the week on Sunday.
So put it in your calendars now because you're probably not gonna remember it. Put it in your calendars now if you want to watch us live on Sunday, because a lot of what we're going to talk about is going to be about Monday and the energy of Monday. Right. And the energy of that coming week. So you probably want to hear it live if you can on Sunday.
That's it. So again, if we have said anything in today's show that
anything at all,
anything that resonates with you, sometimes you think, well, I wish so and so was listening right now. Oh, I wish I had known that before that conversation. Share the show through whatever means possible. Text it to friends. Have it playing in the car when you pick up your kids from school if they're able to go to school. Find ways to share this, because ultimately what ends up happening is that desire to influence others for good obviously comes back to you and adds to your bank account. So keep it up. We see what you're doing and we love you and thank you for it. And don't forget to join us on Sunday for next week's Weekly Energy Boost. Have a great one.